You cannot eradicate mediocrity if you yourself are mediocre. It's why many brands can spend many months just selecting the music you'll hear when you're engaging with their brand. Why? Because brand matters. So if somebody tells you, well, this is the way it's always done, I kind of think it's a little bit rebellious to be like, well, does it have to be done like that? How do we eradicate marketing mediocrity one client at a time if you don't have a figured out attitude? The trust in a brand is the fastest shortcut to a buying decision. The brand is what your consumer says it is. The same is true with culture. It's not what I say it is or what the leadership team says it is or what the company has on the walls. We love others by treating them the way that we would want to be treated ourselves. We love others by providing clarity, even if it's information, decisions that they don't like. What they see you doing is what actually is the culture. And that's what will be duplicated.
Welcome to the Culture from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. In a business world where employees and customers crave authenticity and trust, hosts Larry Levine and Darrell are on a mission to find and showcase heart-centered executives and the companies they lead. You are about to hear an inspiring conversation with a visionary leader that's bringing heart into the workplace, empowering employees, serving their clients, and uplifting communities, all to create true success. This is Culture from the Heart. The movement starts here. Let's begin.
Welcome to Culture from the Heart. I'm your co-host, Darrell, here today with Larry Levine, and we're joined by Jamie Shaver. She's the CEO and founder of Amped, a full-service strategic marketing agency where their mission is to eradicate marketing mediocrity one client at a time. Jamie, welcome to Culture from the Heart. It's awesome to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I've been looking forward to this, Darrell.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for everyone to hear Jamie's story. And as we get started, Jamie, I'm curious, what does Culture from the Heart mean to you?
It means that you need to love people. I mean, I know it seems so obvious, right? Like love, but what does love really look like in the workplace? And how do our core values and the culture that we create around people share and communicate that love in a meaningful way and a way that can be lived out? And it's why when I think about culture from the heart, that love is expressing itself by action, like through action in the business. And when you think about what culture is, it's really your company's character. So what character does your business have that you're inviting people into a relationship with when you're asking them to work for you, to work in the business?
Mm. You know what's interesting about this, Jamie, is the whole L word, the love word, is how openly we can use this in our personal lives, in our homes and things like that. But when you ask about the love word in business, that's when people go, no, I'm not too sure about this. You got to help us out with this.
It kind of freaks people out. And I think it's because it might feel mushy or it's not like super well defined. I disagree, though. I challenge that thought. I think it is well defined. And we love others by treating them the way that we would want to be treated ourselves. We love others by providing clarity, even if it's information or decisions that they don't like. We love them by helping them have clarity with what it is, what are the expectations of where you're working, your role, how we serve others, how we treat one another. When there's crystal clear clarity around those things, that is loving them because they're very clear then about what the expectation is. And also, I think some of the best businesses are also very clear about what happens when those expectations are not met. And both sides need to be clear. And sometimes I think people lean on the love side is that everything always needs to feel good. And love is not a feeling, love is action. And by controlling and having parameters and boundaries for our actions, they need to align with our core values. And here's why. That's actually where love is coming from and how we would define that love.
That's so powerful. And, earlier you'd mentioned, I think it lines up with this really well, that there's a big connection between culture of an organization and the character of that organization as well. I think that's a really profound insight.
Well, when you think about trust and how important it is, and obviously as the CEO and founder of a strategic marketing agency, we work a lot with businesses on branding. and who is their brand, right? And I think there's a lot of things that are in common with those things. And one, a brand is not what you say it is as the business. The brand is what your consumer says it is. And I believe similarly, the same is true with culture. It's not what I say it is or what the leadership team says it is or what the company has on the walls. It's what the employees and those interacting with you say it is. And so there's got to be, just like there is brand management, where you're managing what makes you distinct in a marketplace, there's got to be intentional management of your culture and intentionality behind it. Because if there isn't, then you'll end up similarly to many brands who have kind of lost their way, so to speak. It's because there wasn't intentional stewardship and boundaries placed around what is it distinctly that makes us different in the marketplace, and how do consumers experience us? What do they say that we are? And how do we help shape that experience so that what they say and our brand promises are aligned? And similarly, when we're running businesses, we've got to consider, this is who we say we are, but then are we living that out? Is that integrous with what people would actually say in the business that are working here? Because if you also don't have intentionality there, there's drift. And the drift is costly both with your brand, but also in business. When you allow that drift and there aren't things that you're intentionally doing and putting in place to ensure that your culture is what you said it is and what you desire for it to be, because it is like character. And I feel like character is something where, you know, the definition of integrity, or the root word is integral, where these two things are coming together. What you say and what you do, are they in alignment? And the same thing is going to be true for a brand. If what you say you are and then what you are, you know, trust in a brand is the fastest shortcut to a buying decision. If I already love this brand and they came out with something new, the trust is already there. It's a quick buy, a quick, easy decision. Similar is true in leadership. When your culture is what you say it is and the trust is there, that's a very quick shortcut to buy in, which is really important for anything you want to do in your business. You want the buy-in of the organization, and the fastest shortcut to that buy-in is to be trustworthy. How do we be trustworthy? It's by aligning ourselves with integrity to the things that we say we're going to do. And part of that is the culture that we are communicating exists here and that we are part of. And I believe as leaders, we first have to begin leading ourselves well. And ask ourselves the question, am I living these values in a way that if my actions were duplicated 100 times over, that this would be the kind of culture that we say we have?
There's one word that I really zero in on when it comes to all of this is congruency. Are the leaders congruent? Does the walk match the talk? And I'm here to say that your employees pick up on this stuff really, really fast.
Yes. And it speaks volumes. And similar with like a brand. And that's why I keep looking at those two things. If you say you're one thing and then what they see is something totally different, what they see you doing is what actually is the culture. And that's what will be duplicated. And that's also why it's important to highlight those in the business who are executing and behaving and operating in alignment with the character of the business that is the culture, and calling that out on a regular basis. And so we do ensure that as we are leading and in meetings, we have set meeting agendas. And on some of those meetings is it very intentional that we are calling out examples of our core values being lived, that we go through them once a month, we're going through them. There should be no question what we believe here, why we believe it, and also importantly, how it looks when it's modeled and demonstrated in the workplace.
Beautiful. Well, stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment to continue this great conversation with Jamie Shaver. Let's be honest, finding the right people and building the right culture, that's the holy grail for every leader.
That's why we recommend Titus Talent, because they don't just fill seats. They help you build teams that thrive.
With their partnership plans, you get more than just hiring help. You get a committed team by your side that helps you attract top performers and retain them.
They bring strategy, data, and a human touch to talent optimization. No guesswork, just results.
So if you're ready to invest in your people and create a culture where everyone wins, Head over to culturefromtheheart.com/talent to learn more.
That's culturefromtheheart.com/talent. Your culture is your competitive advantage. Design it with Titus Talent.
You're listening to Culture from the Heart. Let's dive right back into this great conversation with Jamie Shaver, CEO of Amped. Jamie, right before the break, you were saying that you're very intentional inside your organization about making sure that you steward the culture well. Tell us more about how that looks inside the company.
Well, one thing we created, and I have them right here, we have this great little thing that you can put on your desk, and we have cards that actually have the core values. So when new hires are brought into the organization, they receive this as like a welcome gift, but it's because it matters. We want you to understand. And even before they say yes and become an employee here at Amped, we're using our core values as screening tools through the hiring process. And part of that includes, we're gritty. Our mission is to eradicate marketing mediocrity one client at a time. You cannot eradicate mediocrity if you yourself are mediocre. And how do we screen for that? How do you screen for that in an interview process? The belief system, the grit. Are you bringing that? Because we love to win. And what winning looks like is when our clients win. So do you like scoreboards? If you do, you're going to love it at Amped. If you don't like scoreboards, you're not going to enjoy it, because accountability is part of how you eradicate mediocrity of any kind, is with accountability. And so we've got scoreboards. We are through the interview process. I want to hear about your level of compete. I remember being in college and they put you on some group project, right? And you show up and no one else shows up. You're going, well, I want the A. And so now what? I've got to pull the slack of the rest of this team. Nobody likes that. And high achievers especially don't like that. So if you're building a business with a group of high achievers, understanding that achievement is part of the culture and what you screen for from the onset, it ensures that people don't show up and feel like, oh, shoot, there's accountability here. That shouldn't be a surprise on their first day. And so we're using that. One of our core values is to create or find a solution, figure it out, make improvements. It actually says figure it out. And we love this. In marketing, so imagine on your wall, core value, figure it out. But seriously, when we're in the space that we're in marketing, marketing platforms and the versions and the updates are constant. It's why we have another core value about being a habitual learner and sharing what's possible. But those constant changes require oftentimes that you have a figured out mentality, because they just changed an interface on you that you weren't expecting. It says on behalf of your client, you're running email lead nurturing campaigns. Recently, we were invited into a global CRM platform that was super old. And we've got to build out a lead nurturing sequence inside of this platform that we've never heard of. It's super clunky. So how do we eradicate marketing mediocrity one client at a time if you don't have a figured out attitude that sees a problem and says, okay, well, no one else really knows how to use this thing either, including our client. And we're going to figure it out and make it work, because our job is to eradicate mediocrity, and mediocrity is currently here. We see it. So in equipping them to take ownership, which is also another one of our core values, to making a change and just knowing that part of their role here is to figure that out, to get that technology working and get the job done, because you have taken ownership of that. We also like to move fast. It's so important. And so often requests come into us pretty last minute. So acting with urgency and executing with excellence is a core value at Amped. And the importance of that is you can't have one without the other. You don't get to just be fast and sloppy. And so we wanted to clarify what that looks like. It's why you'll notice when we talk about core values at Amped, I'm not using just one word. And some people have made fun of me for this. It's like a core phrase. But we wanted to make sure that there was no confusion, because being clear is loving. How does this look when you're actually living it out? Another core value we have is with a hint of rebel, question assumptions and find opportunities and challenges. So if somebody tells you, well, this is the way it's always done, I kind of think it's a little bit rebellious to be like, well, does it have to be done like that? Is there a better way? Is there a better way? We should question those assumptions. And when a challenge is presented, let's meet it with that grit that we love and that we want to hire for. And so, one of our employees, I love this, but in the interview, she shared with me, well, I knew this about her. She actually shared, she's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with a group of people 4 times. That's grit. That's a no excuses kind of mindset that helps elevate an entire team if you're going to bring that same mindset and can-do attitude into what you're doing for work. We mentioned already kind of take ownership. That's blended with do the right thing and take ownership. And by taking ownership, even our leadership team, it's a recognition of taking ownership for both your wins and your losses. Mm-hmm. And that's the great thing about accountability. It allows for both, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to own the loss, you're going to also own the win. And we're very transparent, even with our clients, about, hey, this is where we're winning. Here's some things we're watching and we're still, the jury's out. And here's some areas that we know we need to adjust. And here's why. And here's what we've learned. And here's how it's going to be adjusted. And so taking ownership, doing the right thing by being transparent in your communication and really clear, I also think is loving. That is leadership from the heart, because you're truly caring about someone else's business the way you would care for your own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is so good. Thank you for sharing all your core values, and I love them. I got to zero in on this eradicate word. Just you got to give us the whole backstory on why the word eradicate. There has to be a story to this.
Well, the fact is, when you look up marketers on the Consumer Trust Index, okay, it's very low. And there's a great reason for that. It's like smoke and mirrors, right? Like the industry has a bad rep in a lot of situations. And we see that as an incredible opportunity within that challenge to say, no, we're different. We're actually going to live out our core value of speaking the truth in love. We're going to eradicate marketing mediocrity. We need to get rid of it. It's the finality of that. It's like, it is gone, and there's so much of it everywhere. And oftentimes we're confronted with owners and business leadership who says, I've been feeling like this is kind of mediocre for a while, because when things are working, no one knows why. And when they're not working, they don't really know why. Well, that to me is a definition of mediocre. You should be able to know with clarity what is working and what isn't working, and where is your return on investment? How much is that return? And what is it that you're hoping to achieve, and setting those meaningful scoreboards. So we get fired up. This is that mission. I'm sorry, you probably heard my voice, right? But that mission has become a straight up rally cry at Amped. People were like, I want t-shirts. Like our team is saying we want t-shirts to wear with our logo that has this on it, because this is like almost a badge that is like the purpose behind the work that they do. They understand what their role is in that purpose and creating that on behalf of our clients. And it's exciting.
So beautiful. Well, hey, a big thank you to our sponsors for helping make this show possible. Stick around. We'll be right back. If you were buying a company, you wouldn't just glance at the website and say, looks good, let's buy it. You'd do your due diligence. You'd review the books, check the leadership, dig into performance history.
Exactly. You never spend millions on a company without knowing what you're getting. Yet, most CEOs hire salespeople with nothing more than a resume and a gut feeling.
That's why we recommend Sales Index Unlimited Candidate Assessments. It's like due diligence for your sales hires. Each sales candidate is evaluated across 21 core sales competencies, because a crucial role like sales requires more than a personality profile. Sales Index compares candidates against a database of 2.5 million salespeople. You'll know exactly who has the drive, the grit, and the skills to perform before you bring them on board.
Because in sales, a bad hire doesn't just cost salary. It costs momentum, margin, and morale.
For just $299 a month, you can protect your growth engine and make every sales hire a smart investment.
Do your due diligence before your next hire.
Go to unlimited.salesindex.ai That's unlimited.salesindex.ai and hire with confidence. We hope you enjoyed that message. Now let's get back to this great conversation with Jamie Shaver. Jamie, we were talking earlier about the parallels between brand and managing your brand and your culture, brand being what people outside your company, your customers and future company customers see you as, the culture being more how the people on your team see the company. And I think there's incredible insight in that parallel right there.
Well, it is so important that we recognize that this is something that needs to be managed carefully and with that intentionality that I mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. And similar, when you think about your brand and how people perceive the brand, it's also the experience that someone has with the brand. It's why many brands can spend many months just selecting the music you'll hear when you're engaging with their brand. Why? Because brand matters. How people experience you matters at every single touch point, whether those are with human beings or not with human beings, but instead the technology or services that you provide. And when you recognize the amount of money that people and businesses are willing to invest on those types of operational things and how people experience their company and their brand, it's interesting to me that often brand is not a line item on a budget, and neither is culture. But yet so that they are fundamental to who you are and to building trust in the marketplace or inside the business. And so putting that intentionality to ask yourself the question, do you need to dial anything in? Is there anything that's just slightly off? And I love to share this analogy because I've seen it play out in many times in my own life. But if you just imagine like an old school bicycle wheel, you have the hub that's at the center and you've got all these spokes that come off. And if you imagine the hub is right now, but then you imagine the tire is in the future. Okay. There's a real small distance on the hub between those spokes, one to the other. But if the spoke represents time, over time, you land in a very different place. And so at Amped, you mentioned initially at the introduction that we are a full service strategic marketing agency. We believe in starting with strategy first, always. And strategy, there needs to be a strategy about how you're managing your core values and how you're going to choose to have culture from the heart and lead with heart. How are you doing that? Because even small adjustments, if they're not monitored and if they are monitored, are going to lead to a very different destination over time. And that has always just helped me stay accountable to that reality of like, where is it that we want to be in the future and what are we planning for? And is the culture and the type of people attracted to that culture? Because not everybody is, just like a good brand. Not everybody's attracted to that brand. And that's good. That's on purpose. It means you're different. Understanding what makes you different as a business from your culture standpoint will also help you create a workforce and an experience that employees have with you where they can truly know they're in a place that is leading from the heart because it's a place that cares enough to put intention on the character of the business, which is truly the culture that company represents and the experience they have every day interacting.
Oh, this is good. Hey, Jamie, what would you say to a CEO, a leader of a company who's listening to this, who just got the cold glass of water in their face? Where do they start? Like, what's one thing they can do to kind of flip the switch and go, I'm going to do this one thing? What would that one thing be as it relates to culture?
It would be reviewing your core values. And is what you say they are real? You've got to have that heart-to-heart conversation with yourself. Start there. If you're a person of faith like I am, pray. Are these the things? If they're not the things, point it out to me. Let me see where there's misalignment here, because having that congruency, having that authenticity and what's real, be whole, is so important. And if you're not living them, find out, why are you not living them? And is it really truly still a core value? And if not, change it so that it is what's real. You have to bring alignment in. You have to be aligned.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Well, Jamie, as we wrap up, we got a great audience of executives and founders all over the world listening into this. What would you say to encourage this group of leaders here today?
I would say that in order to be a great leader, we have to first start by leading ourselves well. And if our own behavior was duplicated hundreds of thousands of times, maybe, what kind of impact would that have on the business? Mm-hmm. And then I would be encouraged that truly the sum of all of its parts are greater than just any individual. Mm-hmm. And so finding a core team and creating a core team that can help you implement and take these core values into a more meaningful place where they're exhibited, understood, and exercised and rewarded in the workplace can create a place that you love to work. And that was one of my goals too, is to go, hey, if I'm going to work somewhere and spend all these hours, I want to make sure it's with people and in a place that I love, that our clients love, and that at the end of the day, you can feel really great about the work you're doing.
Wonderful. Well, Jamie, thank you so much for sharing your heart with us today. These ideas are powerful, and we're cheering you on here at Selling from the Heart. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
What an amazing conversation. And the insights there that Jamie shared are incredibly powerful. A lot of it is just around simply congruence. And I think, Larry, so many companies pay a lot of attention to how the marketplace sees them. And by the way, you should. Your brand is important. But are we also paying that same level of intention and even investment into how our culture is being lived out inside our organization? It even comes down to character.
So true. And the word that comes up is alignment. And I think as leaders, I would encourage all of us, make sure the walk's matching the talk. It's so important because people are watching you at every step of the way.
No question. Well, thank you for joining us today. We've got a great group of leaders coming up, so make sure to like or subscribe. And if you know a leader that is leading from the heart, you've got a CEO on your mind that is just knocking it out of the park when it comes to culture, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to culturefromtheheart.com and nominate your CEO. The link is right there in the show notes. Thanks for joining us today. We believe that culture is the heartbeat of every organization. And as Jamie has reminded us today, it really is about being congruent with what we do externally and what we do inside our companies as well. So thank you for joining us today on Culture from the Heart. Until next time, lead with your heart and watch your culture thrive.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover heart-centered leaders shaping extraordinary company cultures. To access a leader guide with notes from this week's episode, simply click the link in the show notes or visit us at www.culturefromtheheart.com. Do you know a CEO who's built a culture from the heart? We'd love to hear their story. Head over to www.culturefromtheheart.com and click the Nominate Your CEO button. Until next time, remember, great cultures start with the heart.